Yo, what's good, my fellow Magic Knights? It's your boy DEADMANVINCE back with another Black Clover mobile video. And today I kind of wanted to introduce the concept of limit breaking in Black Clover mobile to you guys, and what I think it could be, and what point in the story that I think it could be implemented, and what they would use to kind of parallel that in the game. Before we get into the video, if you guys could do me a favor, go down below, hit the subscribe button. It's big and red right there for you. It's all nice for you. Looks good on that white backdrop or that black backdrop, unless in case you're not a heathen and you use YouTube in dark mode. And you can hit that notification bell so you stay notified for whenever I drop a video. You can comment down below. Let me know what you like to see. Let me know what you don't. And you can like the video because you like the video. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it, right? So we're talking about character awakening or limit breaking systems. So more so I brought kind of like examples from other games to base it off of, and maybe not base it exactly off of like the exact model of how the limit breaking will look, but more so just what I want to see with the limit breaking and what aspects of the character I want to see changed, right? So first, let's look over at Docon, right? You go to Docon, they have characters from years ago. So this character, right, just got his EZA literally last month, and he was released 4 years ago, and now he's like one of the most relevant characters in the game. This is a very Extreme Z Awakenings is a very good way of working on your characters, because even so with the EZA, not only do we boost the leader skill, but we also boost the effects of the super attack and the passive skill. Then we also get a marginal boost to those stats, right? So as you can see, HP went up 3,000, attack went up 3,000, defense went up like 2,000, right? So as we can see, stats getting buffed, passive skills getting buffed, super attacks getting buffed, leader skill getting buffed. So what I'm trying to say is every aspect of the character that could be upgraded has been upgraded. So even when they release a shitty EZA, right? Say they release an EZA and they don't add the super attack effects that we want as a community, or the passive skill wasn't as revamped as we liked. Even still, it still was revamped to some degree. The super attack was still vamped to some degree, and the leader skill and the stats. So at the very least, even if it's like mediocre, even if it's mid, at least every single aspect of the character was upgraded in some way, shape, or form. Now, let's talk about another game where I don't necessarily think that the potential or awakening system is the best, right? And I only specifically picked these two games because these are the two games that I play the most, that I have played the most, had the most time with, right? We look at 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. They introduced a concept, Holy Relics, right? Holy Relics are just weapons that make characters or units in the game realize their true potential, I guess you could say. Literally works like a holy weapon in the show. So if we look at Ludociel, his kit is based off having more combat class than somebody. The more combat class you have, you lower the enemy's defense related stats by 40% for 3 turns, right? The only problem with that is Ludociel drops, then they drop a few more characters. Automatically Ludociel's not, I don't need Ludociel to be like the highest combat class character in the game, right? But if he has a skill that's gonna be, you know, out combat class somebody and then lower their stats, you have to max this man out 100%. This is like a complete well unit, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, people who want to spend money in the game are going to spend money in the game. People who don't aren't. The problem is there's like a part of the community that's spending hella money on the game, right? They get this man's Holy Relic. All the Holy Relic does is boost his stats, which, yes, in turn boosts his combat class, which makes this more useful. But you have to remember, everybody does not have the unit at all 5 maxed out cosmetics for the weapon, headpiece, costume, fully maxed out, all UR gear, perfect stat rolls. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to character building, and everybody doesn't have this character like maxed out. They could have done something a little better, I feel like, you know, instead of just giving this man stat boost. I feel like this card doesn't do enough damage. The Rupture card. This card's damage is like, you know what I'm saying? They could have upgraded the damage on the card. They could have upgraded the effect on the card. And people are saying, why would they upgrade the effects on the card? Well, I can pull up another unit right now that they did do that. It just doesn't seem like it because the effects right here don't change. But it still does add an extra effect to the card. Then we go to Magelda, right? So I, like a bozo, am not on the JPKR version and need to make this quick change real quick. So bear with me, folks. But if you look at Magelda, right? Before, oh, Nani? Oh, her name is M.E. It's not an M.A. Okay. Learn something new every day. If we look at Magilda, right? She's for a specific type of event, demonic beast battle. Every time the allies' HP is every time the allies' remaining HP is full, applies one effect on the hero that increases all stats by 8% for 5 turns, right? Stacks up to 5 times. That's pretty solid, except for the fact that you have to have full HP. Then you come down here, right? And then you see now you don't even need to have full HP anymore, and the healing card removes a debuff. So then you look at it, and you're just like, all right, cool. Now we don't need full HP. We can just get the buff for free, just from healing. Not only that, the healing card is no longer just a healing card. It's now a healing card and a cleanse card because it can debuff one element for all allies. So right here, point case period. They gave her stat boost. They changed her passive for the better. Then they even like changed one of her like a cards effectively, right? So now I'm just sitting here wondering, what happened to Ludociel, and why did he only get a stat buff, and why could you not change any of his card effects? That's the one thing I don't like about Holy Relics. It's all completely dependent on the character. You could either see a Holy Relic touch all of the characters like aspects that need to be fixed, or they're only going to touch one thing, focus on one thing, and pretend they did us like the most holiest of favors, right? So I'm not too big a fan of Holy Relics. I'm more so a fan of Extreme Z Awakenings. Now, how does this reasoning translate over to Black Clover Mobile, right? What I believe Black Clover Mobile is going to have for their Extreme Z Awakening or their Holy Relic, whatever you want to call it, let me zoom in a little bit, it's called Mana Method. Now, if you guys don't remember, Mana Method is when they get to the Heart Kingdom and God just starts teaching them how to do spells which make rune arrays in the air, I guess you could say. It kind of does just make the rune arrays right there. And then it allows the user to control the natural mana and pretty much merge the natural mana into their own magic, creating what is now known as true magic, right? And this could work as an easy aid just because you could go from like, let's say for example, okay, right? I have a luck that I like made up, like a concept for a luck unit that I made up in the game, right? So let's go over Luck's details real quick. Luck's details, right? Let me zoom in on that. Luck's, oh geez, that's not scroll, huh? There we go. Luck's details I have right here. For his passive, it would be increases mana recovery by 20% because as we know, Luck, even though he's a peasant, he has like crazy ass magic reserves for some reason. Increases mana recovery by 20%, and then magic attack deals 20% more damage when in a reinforced state. Magic attack kind of works as if it's like Pierce, right? Pierce and Grand Cross, the secondary like attack stat. Magic attack would be like secondary to physical attack, right? And it'll all make sense why I've broken him down into all these different things when I get complete through his kit. For this first skill, I have the move where he just shoots off like those orbs from his hands, and I have it dealing all damage to enemy and inflicts bolt for 3 turns, and bolt does 5% of damage to enemy at the end of turn. So basically it's shock. Then you have skill 2, Thunder Creation Magic. Cleanses debuffs and reinforces himself for 2 turns. Now, when I say Thunder Creation Magic, I'm talking about when he makes the gauntlets on his hands and his feet. So he reinforces himself while in this state. Physical attack is pretty much bolstered based off of magical attack. Then his ultimate, I have Thunder Fiend, and that's when he, this is actually from Black Clover Quartet Knights. So this is inflicts overpower, damage to enemy, and paralyzes the enemy for 1 turn. Overpower. If a crit is landed, deals 3 times damage. I'm pretty sure in Grand Cross that translates to like sever, right? And then paralyze, we all know what paralyze does. So what I'm thinking is, right, you have this Luck, he gains Mana Method, and then all of a sudden, this right here increases mana recovery by like 30%. Magic attack deals, you know, just like a simple ass boost, right? Just 30%. So right here, it would be a straight up stat boost, right? Then right here, it deals all damage to enemy and inflicts bolt for 3 turns. You could probably increase the damage that it deals to enemies, or you could even change the effect if you wanted to. Maybe there's a higher level of shock called like, literally just called shock, right? So from bolt to like shock. And it changes the effect from bolt to shock, which deals 10% of damage at the end of the enemy turn. And then this is like true Thunder Creation Magic, right? And then this debuffs him still, reinforces him for like 3 turns. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that where we can get a full overhaul of the character. The ultimate move maybe wouldn't need to change because it's already ultimate move. It should be like the strongest move in their kit or the best ability in their kit, I feel like. But yeah, that's kind of how I think Mana Method would work. literally it would change from a basic magic nature to a true magic nature. And then I think the moves should either not maybe necessarily be changed, but just be more be stronger, be made to sound better. Not necessarily that the animations change, but just the effects change. But yeah, I feel like Monomethod could come into the game, you know, because Monomethod came in during the Spade Kingdom arc. So really at the beginning of the Heart Kingdom, when they start talking to the Heart Kingdom Queen and all that, and Gaja. So it comes at that point. And that's not the end of the show. It's just the end of the anime for now, because the manga needs to catch up, blah, 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 background stuff. But I feel like this could come at a later point in the game. It will be a very good representation of limit breaking for your characters, because from this point on, later on in the story, things jump up drastically. I feel like Extreme Z Awakenings, or not Extreme Z Awakenings, but limit breaking for your character would be the best thing to get right at a period where we go into the Spade Kingdom arc, right? Because you could get Mono Method for Asta, and Asta's probably going to start out with like some anti-magic passives that nullify magic attacks or something of that nature. But then eventually you're going to get to enemies, literally we saw them, enemies in the manga that not only is their magic insane, but also their physical capability is just insane too, because for some reason it looks like they can just bolster themselves with their mana at this point. But at some point, Asta, even his little bit of anti-magic nullifying isn't going to work on the late game bosses if you really think about it. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I ramble on, but if you did like the video, you can go down below, leave a like, you can comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That's going to be it for your boy, DEADMANVINCE. Hope you guys can surpass your limits today and be better people than you were the last day. I butchered my outro. Goodbye, fellas.